I grew up in Fostoria, and my mother still lives there. And I have a daughter, son-in-law, and granddaughter that lives in Stryker. Actually, it was my family that found this position online and said, you have to apply for this. My long-term plan was to return to this part of the state once I retired. It's just that my timeline has sped up in terms of having this opportunity. Prior to coming here, I was an associate professor at Wright State University in Dayton, Ohio. Well, it's amazing in that 30 years ago from this time of year, I was one of 2 faculty that were hired to implement the nursing program here at Northwest State. And so this really is like a coming home for me, not only in terms of my career, but I'm originally from Northwest Ohio. When I think about it, actually I was down in that area 16 years because before I went to Wright State, I was at Miami University for 4 years. And so when I moved to that part of the state, I was very selective in terms of where I wanted to live and where I wanted my children to grow up. And I settled on Germantown, Ohio, which is about 9 miles from everywhere. 9 miles from Middletown, downtown Dayton, Gratis, which is another small town. But Germantown is a city of 5,000. And so being here in Archibald, it really isn't that much of a culture shock because, again, I'm very familiar with the area, having grown up in this area and also living in a small town. I know when I've been searching for houses, and I spent part of a day looking at houses in Defiance, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is like a metropolis. I don't know if I want to live, in a city this size. So even though I'm a kind of a big city girl and can navigate that, I'm really a small girl or small town girl at heart. In many ways, I think the program back then was very much like every other associate degree program throughout the state and even into southern Michigan. But I think it has evolved with the times, as most of us have had to evolve with the advance of technology and computers and practically being able to live our lives online. Well, I certainly can empathize with my faculty in that I pretty much have just fulfilled faculty roles. And so I'm very used to working with students that reach a wide gamut. I taught in all the programs that we had at Wright State. We had a traditional program eligible for students that were straight out of high school. We had a accelerated program that was primarily for individuals that had a previous degree and were looking for a degree change, and so they were pursuing a second degree in nursing. I've been part of the RN to BSN program at Wright State, and I also taught health policy for our graduate students. And so I can see the continuum of students and know in terms of how to level content, and most students enjoy my courses because I like to use a lot of humor. I don't like to just lecture. I try to break it up in terms of doing gaming and that kind of thing. And so I can give ideas to my faculty in terms of how they might do something different to engage the students. But I don't intend to be invisible to students. I want them to know that there is a dean and that's me, so that when they get ready to graduate, they can't, it's not like the first time they've ever seen me handing them a diploma. I love seeing the students develop from the first day they walk through the door and that day that they walk out with that diploma in hand, and all the little light bulbs that go off from that first day to the last day. Everything I have heard and seen is more than I had envisioned. Everyone here is so friendly, so accepting and welcoming. It's just kind of a breath of fresh air.